Right now, NASA is deliberately killing pieces of a spacecraft that's been flying for 50 years. Not because it failed, because they're choosing what gets to survive and what doesn't. Somewhere in a room full of monitors, an engineer is watching a number get smaller. In April 2026, NASA deliberately switched off one of Voyager's last working science instruments, the low-energy charged particle detector. Not because it failed, because the spacecraft's nuclear battery loses around 4 watts every year, and keeping that instrument alive was threatening everything else. The command took 22 hours to reach her. Confirmation took another 22 to return. In that silence between sending and hearing back, a decision was made about what deserved to survive. It will not be the last one. The strange thing, the thing that makes this mission unlike anything humans have ever built, is that the people who launched Voyager 1 in 1977 were making the exact same kind of decision. They were choosing what outlasts the people who made it, on purpose. Voyager 1 launched on September 5, 1977, aboard a Titan IIIe rocket. The timing was not accidental. The outer planets had aligned in a configuration that occurs once every 175 years, close enough that a single spacecraft could visit multiple worlds by borrowing momentum from each one's gravity, miss the window, and wait nearly 2 centuries. Officially, the mission had a defined end: explore the planets, return the data, finish. But somewhere in the planning, a second decision was made, quieter than the rocket, heavier than the science. They bolted a gold-plated copper record to the side of the spacecraft. Sounds, music, images of people, greetings in dozens of languages. A map built from pulsars, precise enough that something, somewhere, might work backward and find where this object came from. No retrieval plan, no return mission, no expiry date on the message. They built a machine to do science, and inside it, they placed something engineered to survive its creators. The golden record was not assembled over years. There was no worldwide consultation, no survey asking 8 billion people how they wanted to be remembered. Carl Sagan's committee had roughly 6 weeks. 6 weeks to decide what humanity was, and what it deserved to carry into a future none of them would ever see. No second draft, no revision, one decision sealed and sent away. Because this was not a time capsule retrievable later with better judgment. Whatever they chose becomes the only version of us that outlasts everything else we ever made. Every monument, every archive, every language. If something finds this object a billion years from now, what is on that record is what we were. 6 weeks to get it right. But here is what most people don't expect. They didn't show humanity as it actually was. The record left out war, poverty, disease, crime, every form of suffering threaded through human history, gone. That was not an oversight. Sagan argued something strange and deeply human. A hostile civilization finding us would not care about our flaws. A kind one might only feel pity for them. So instead of accuracy, they chose possibility. They sent music instead of violence, greetings instead of arguments, hope instead of evidence. Because when humans were given one chance to introduce themselves forever, with no correction possible, no context to add later, this is who they decided to be. Not who they were, who they wanted to be. That may be the most human thing on the record. Jupiter arrived first in 1979. The cameras returned storms larger than planets, winds faster than any hurricane on Earth, cloud layers folding into each other with the slow violence of systems that had been moving for centuries, and the Great Red Spot, a storm so wide that Earth could disappear inside it without touching the edges. The bigger surprise was Io, active volcanoes visible from space, plumes rising 100 kilometers into nothing. Then Europa, bright ice crossed with dark fractures, hinting at liquid water beneath, at chemistry, at the conditions that on Earth come before life. Jupiter gave Voyager one final gift: speed. A fraction of the planet's own momentum, stolen by gravity, turned into a new trajectory outward. Jupiter was never the final destination. It was the launch. Saturn arrived in 1980. The rings resolve into layers inside layers: ice, dust, gaps, waves, structure shaped by forces working across geological time. But Saturn was always a waypoint. The real target was Titan, a moon wrapped in thick orange haze, nitrogen-rich, its surface completely hidden. Passing through its gravity bent Voyager's path one final time and sent her outward toward a darkness with no planet waiting at the end of it. After Titan, the geometry was fixed. The people who built her understood this. They planned for it. They attached a message to a spacecraft, knowing that one day a moon's gravity would redirect it toward a silence with no destination, because the point was never to arrive. The point was that it keeps going after everyone who made it is gone. In 1990, before her cameras were shut down forever, Voyager turned around. From nearly 6 billion kilometers away, she pointed back and captured the family portrait, a mosaic in which every planet appeared as a fragment of light, barely distinguishable from surrounding darkness. Earth was there, not continents, not history. One pale blue pixel, smaller than a dust grain on a photograph, carrying every human life ever lived up to that moment. NASA looked at it once, then shut down the cameras forever. Humans looked at themselves, then turned the camera away. This is the moment to return to the record, because after watching Earth reduced to a pixel, one detail on that gold disc becomes almost unbearable to think about. Andrew Yan, who co-created the record alongside Sagan, recorded her own brainwaves as part of the data, an hour of electrical signals from a living human mind, encoded and bolted to the spacecraft. She said later that during that part of the session, she was thinking about being in love. Somewhere in those signals is the electrical pattern of a person in that state, moving through interstellar space at 17 kilometers every second, outlasting the body it came from, outlasting everyone who knew her name. Alongside it, President Carter's message: "I hope that humanity will survive long enough to one day be understood." Strange things descend into the dark, and yet exactly right. For 35 years, Voyager kept moving. The heliopause is not a wall. It is the invisible line where the sun's solar wind finally loses to the pressure of what lies beyond. No sign, no visible change. But the instruments felt it. Particles from inside the solar system dropped sharply. Cosmic rays from outside increased. The numbers changed before the scientists fully believed what they were seeing. On August 25, 2012, Voyager 1 entered interstellar space, the first human-made object ever to do so. The crossing was not visible, only measurable. And this brings us back to that engineer, back to that number getting smaller. The people managing Voyager today are not doing something different from the people who launched her. They are doing the same thing, choosing what survives, which instrument gets sacrificed to protect the others, what gets to keep transmitting, and what goes dark. In 1977, a committee chose what humanity would carry into eternity. In 2026, engineers are choosing which pieces of the machine gets one more year. The decisions are 49 years apart. They are the same decision. NASA expects total silence somewhere between 2027 and the mid-2030s. After that, the Deep Space Network may keep listening anyway. The way you keep checking a phone you already know won't ring. There will be no announcement, no final transmission, no ceremony. Voyager will not signal that she is fading. She will simply stop answering. The last data will arrive, be recorded, and the next window will come back empty. Someone will look at the numbers and understand. And that will be all. She will not die. She will go quiet. About 40,000 years from now, Voyager passes near another star, Gliese 445, still not close enough to arrive, just passing through. By then, no one is tracking her. No one remembers the engineers, the 6 weeks, or the morning the rocket left the ground. Human memory has no thread connecting it back to 1977. The journey does not notice. Billions of years further, the Milky Way and Andromeda begin their slow collision. Stars move, timescales make civilizations look like afternoons. Somewhere in it, the spacecraft is still moving, no longer connected to anything that sent it, carrying its message through a galaxy that no longer resembles the one it left. 10 trillion years after that, bright stars are gone. Small red dwarfs burn on before they too begin fading. The universe grows quieter, and if Voyager still exists, older than nearly every star that ever gave light to anything, she is still moving, still carrying what was placed inside her. The strangest part is not the distance, it is what survives. Buildings collapse, languages outlive their last speakers by a generation, then go silent. Borders dissolve as the land beneath them shifts. Civilizations that seemed permanent become archaeology, then dust, then nothing, not even a ruin. But that gold-plated copper disc may still be out there, intact, carrying greetings in languages no one speaks, music from cultures no longer living, a map to a star whose third planet looks nothing like it does in the images encoded on it, and somewhere in the data, the electrical pattern of a human mind thinking about love. Sagan knew this, Drew Yan knew it. Everyone born in that room in 1977 knew exactly what they were doing. They were building something designed to bury them, to outlast their names, their language, their civilization, their planet. Something that would still exist when every other trace of them was gone. And they sent it anyway. Voyager 1 was never humanity's attempt to reach somewhere. It was proof that some things are worth building even when you never see what they become. The record keeps moving through the dark, past the last transmission, past the last person who knew what it carried, past the last civilization that remembered why it was sent. It was never meant to come home. It was meant to remain. And maybe that's the strangest part of all. The people who built it knew they would never see the ending, and sent it anyway. If this story stayed with you, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what would you put on humanity's record?